Hello, Test Pilot Monkey here, and this is a game called Rom Check Fail. And after that bit of glitchy static there, we get into the game. And this is best described as what would happen if you took a few well-known games and threw them into a blender. There's no other real good way of explaining it other than to play the game, really. So here we go, we have Mario facing up against a asteroid. And, predictably, the asteroid wins. Now, some car, I don't know what it's from, against a Space Invader, and the Defender spaceship against the blocks from Arkanoid. Now, the blocks from Arkanoid obviously stay still, so the Defender is quite at the advantage here. And if we end a stage in the middle of one of these glitches, then we get glitchy graphics for the next stages until we get another glitch. So the bubbles from Pang versus the ship from Asteroid, and then we've got Pac-Man. And Pac-Man actually has the power pill, which he's famous for, of course, start off in the place where he starts off on the level. So obviously if that's too far away from where the enemies are, then it's he's not going to get there in time to deal with them. So those line things, I don't know where they're from, but they're pretty hard to deal with since their hitbox is so big. And obviously this game is really fast-paced, so I'm going to find it difficult to comment on things in a very timely manner. Anyway, we've got the ghost from Gauntlet in here as well. And this is a situation which you find yourself in many times during the game, where you can't do anything at all. However, when you come across here, Mario's well known for jumping on blocks, so that's what he was doing there. Unfortunately here, he's completely unable to do so. And I'm not too good at aiming the asteroid ship's bullets, so yes, when it comes to asteroids, I'm not the best player in the world. So yes, Pac-Man gets his power pill, and will he make it appear in time? No, but Mario seems to be doing well against his asteroids. And, of course, the enemy that Mario will be normally facing up against is these Goombas, and yeah, another completely useless situation. So one thing to note about the bullets is, usually you can shoot through walls if you're right up against them. I don't know if it's intended that way, but it certainly helps out in certain situations which you will be seeing later on. So Mario not going to be able to get up to the top of this stage in time enough to deal with those asteroids, and Pac-Man isn't going to be very useful here because he needs to go back with his power pill, and by the time he gets there he won't be able to get back to the Goombas. And as I said, the shooting through the walls, very, very useful thing to be able to do. Obviously you can only shoot through them when you're right up against them. But here, since we're in control of the ship from Space Invaders, then we can't really do too much, but we change to this car and nearly get all of the blocks. Now, Link is not very well suited to taking out Pang bubbles, since when he swings his sword he actually stands still, and obviously the Pang bubbles have a lot of mobility. And obviously the levels are shaped in certain ways to elicit different games, and this one is obviously based on Tetris. Oh, and Pac-Man's on his own stage, but the ghosts here are actually quite well spread out, and you won't be able to get to all of them in time. And this is a pretty bad map for the Defender. As you see, there's no real clear sight lines for him to shoot down. And yes, since all the enemies at the bottom now, we can't do very much with that car. Asteroid ship against asteroids, obviously in its element, but the stage layout doesn't really help things. Unfortunately, we've avoided the next glitch, but unfortunately, it's given us a quite useless combination here, so let's see what comes up next. Mario vs Pang Bubbles in a very confined space does not equal victory. And yeah, as I said, these hitboxes on these line things are quite difficult, so Link doesn't face up against them too well either. You really want something that can shoot projectiles to deal with those kind of things. So Pac-Man against these Goombas, actually quite a good situation. And another really good situation, Mario doing his famous jumping on blocks routine once again. And there is a wraparound on the screen, only vertically though. So certain situations can be dealt with quicker or at all. And yeah, since the enemies start off stationary, then this level is basically just ducks in a barrel, or whatever you call it. And this is a bit tricky, it's best to stay out of the way here, I think. And this is not an optimal position for our Space Invaders ship. And if those lines actually followed some kind of sensible way, sensible path, then we could do well against them. And yeah, this is just a bad situation for Link. He can't take out all those blocks fast enough. And this is even a pretty bad situation for Mario. Fortunately, the bubbles don't want to go through the gap too much. And unfortunately for Pac-Man, he has trouble dealing with things that get in the way of his power bill. So yeah, as I said, projectile firing protagonists are quite good against those line things, but obviously that's if you can aim the projectiles. And yeah, this is a pretty good combination if you're not terrible at dodging those bubbles. And Mario taking out his classic enemies here. And yeah, jumping is very much advised against Goombas, and going down like this is not advised at all for that car. Of course, confined space, bouncing around asteroids, very bad situation. And yes, I died there, but I played another game and we got back to where we dropped off. So we'll see how the rest of the levels look. And this would be a pretty good thing if the timer lasted a bit longer, because we'd be able to get all those enemies, but unfortunately it doesn't. And yeah, this is a pretty bad situation for anybody who can't control the asteroid ship very well. Shooting through walls, our assistant again here. And yeah, best for Link to stay away from those. And Pac-Man's not going to be able to do anything here as well. I mean, Pac-Man's really, really powerful if he can actually get back to his power pill, but in some situations it's just not viable for him to do so. You get this combination again, which, if the Space Invader was thinking of moving down further, then we could have dealt with them. And you'll probably see I actually move characters that can defy gravity, in a way, up to the undersides of blocks, so that if I do turn into one of the things that can shoot upwards, then I will actually be in a position to shoot through the blocks. But the good thing about the Gauntlet Ghosts is if they don't chase after you, they actually will group together, and so the next enemies that they turn into will all be bunched up, so it's quite quick to deal with them. And yes, you can shoot through the blocks sideways, but unfortunately this doesn't help us here. And yes, we're not going to be able to do anything. And neither are the enemies though. And, well, Mario versus rocks. Don't know about that, but yeah, Link versus slow-moving Space Invaders, because it wasn't just one Space Invader there, they were all bunched together. And that is really a bad starting position in this map, and since there's the wraparound, it can get quite dangerous if enemies are falling down, because they just go up to their maximum speed and are deadly. So here we are, finished the game, and yes, we've got quite a lot of endings for this game. But you see at the bottom it says, Princess is in a faster castle. Yep, they do the same thing of that many games have done in the past, of repeating the levels, but quicker. So I won't play through the whole thing because it's basically the same levels, and I'm pretty bad at it. So let's just have a look at how fast it is. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fast. And let's see how far I get through this whole thing. Unfortunate glitchy graphics and not an ideal situation for our car, but switches quickly into the Defender and then into the Space Invader, which is fortunately asteroid ship, which is fortunately facing the right way. And a bad situation for Link to be in. Mario should be able to defeat those ghosts. As he jumps up, they'll just kind of move up onto the underside of them and die. But yeah, it does get a bit hectic, this game. But it's a I would recommend it. So there is actually on the website for this game the source code now available, because the developer has just recently released that, and so you can have a look through and see how it runs. And apparently it's all in one big file, and it's a bit of a mess, but I haven't actually looked through it too much myself. But if you like playing around with things like that, I encourage you to go in and have a look at it. Otherwise, yes, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and see you next game.